good and excel maybe slightly towards the mid to late game. So it kind of gives an expression says, hey, we're still in this. We're still gonna try and win this. And perhaps maybe this could be their answers against the against the unstoppable force of rule number one.
We've yet to see the jungler. It just got picked up. It's the Shyvana. I was thinking either the Olaf jungle, Olaf Sinja or Shyvana, but it seems like Shyvana is going to be the choice. This is, I believe, the only the second unique champion picked up in the jungle by newbie GMK. He did use the Vi and Shyvana, so he's going to go back to the Dragon. So mid-game oriented draft. I really like where this is going. They realize that rule number one loves to fight. They love to get their first item GA and start diving turrets. But if Team Angkor, they're ready to fight, perhaps they can step the bleeding a bit.
It's definitely time for us to see Team Angkor side definitely view and improve with the Mundo over on the top lane. Nothing much has changed from rule number one other than that Garen pick, which maybe will be better to face out Team Mundo instead of the Olaf. But we are now inside of the Rift, ladies and gentlemen. Now game 2 shall start. Back to you, casters.
Thank you very much, Contra, as always, you lovely beasts. We're getting ready, yes, game 2 of this upper bracket semi-finals with rule number one game away, perhaps 20 minutes away from locking themselves the grand final spot. And of course, Team Angkor, they have a tall mountain to climb. Now let's see if this switch up in the draft is going to help Team Angkor secure a little bit more of a fighting chance, right? You have Garen on his big blade, and if you have Mundo with his if you are Private Pork, you want to give a bit of a detrimental disease over to the Demacian Prince. We see they can make that work out, but a bit of a leash coming up from Hannah for newbie GMK. Siderecker will get a slight head start over Sino in the jungle.
I'm pretty excited to see like how this Baron lane matchup is gonna go, because you have both of these champions who are just very good at sustaining towards the early game, because you have the Garen with the Perseverance, you have the Adrenaline Rush on the Mundo. So perhaps maybe we can see a little bit more action on the Dragon lane instead of the Baron lane, because the Baron lane is all about on towards the Baron it's all about sustaining. So a little bit of skirmish here, maybe Husky.
Yeah, and I like what Flair is doing, or what Flair did just now. He headbutts Reem away, and if he finds a chance, because so far the pattern is whenever Reem is in danger, Hannah will be the babysitter. He'll be the guardian angel to protect this marksman. So whenever Flair engages onto Reem just to push him away, Hannah gets called out of position. They engage onto the support. This push and pull, this tug of war between what rule number one is doing in the Dragon lane slowly chips away at Team Angkor's Dragon laners.
Just to add a little bit on that one, because looking at the trade just now, it might be a bad idea in my opinion, because you have the Braum with the wall, with the unbreakable wall, so it might be a little bit difficult for them today, because the wall does reduce damage from Bex, so Bex might not be able to deal as much damage as the Misfortune, who will go on Alistar, but Alistar didn't exactly have that defensive in his kit to actually tank up or soak up all the damage.
Yeah, and it's all about the level 5, right? You want to hit that ultimate, you make Alistar beefy with his unbreakable wheel, he walks in, he soaks up all the damage output, and it will allow Draven to do his job. But there's already a first blood. Nash, again, showing Robot 7 that the bronze medal was just a bait. Gets the first blood for himself. Hannah now forced to rotate to the middle lane, which means that Reem is isolated in the bottom lane. We might see an engage coming in from the side of rule number one if he's not careful. And it seems like that's going to be the case though. You see Flair and Bex going on top of that Misfortune, forcing Reem to back off.
Yeah, this is exactly what I mean to have that Evelyn mid. You can put in like a lot of pressure on towards the side lane, because even though they have a vision from the Scuttle Crab on towards the middle side of the river, but I'm an Evelyn. I have my Demon Shade, and I'm just gonna go invincible and just go, I'm just gonna go roam. Yeah, I mean, you guys can do whatever you want. I'm just gonna go keep roaming and apply more pressure on towards your laners.
You can see the wave clear from Evelyn is good. She's good in trading, can roam very early. The fact that she's able to get a level advantage and keep this Ahri in the middle lane says a lot about the power of the Evelyn right now. This Robot 7, he was not able to be as active as he was in the previous game before played. So Demacia taken out of the equation in the early game makes everything else so much easier for number one to execute.
It actually makes you wonder a bit. if this is the kind of performance that Nash is showing and he's still bronze, I wonder, like, perhaps maybe what kind of plays do higher level do?
I mean, he probably doesn't play rank too much, like you can kind of fake it, but you're gonna see Nash he's just zoning Robot 7 away from the wave, so Robot 7 is not gonna get some experience. Does get the charm in the middle lane though, but feels like Cena's gonna show up, so
The dragon
now you
has
can see
fallen.
Robot 7 just Spirit dashes to safety. Fredo getting a bit of a chip in that Baron lane tier 1, getting a turret plating as well if I'm not mistaken. All of these champions, all of these players on the side of Rune number 1, they have the experience advantage, they have the network advantage, and most importantly, they are always the first one to make the move. And we've seen Team Angkor, they are always the reactive team, and sometimes being reactive can really cost them if they are not ready to take the fight. And bottom lane, something might be happening there. Hannah getting jumped on immediately, uses the Unbreakable, but Back still kills him off. But, we're gonna keep looking at Fredo. Flash goes down to Set Riker. Snash finally caught up by the charm. And Robot 7 will get his revenge. There's 2 for Team Angkor and only 1 for Rune number 1.
A very nice, rotation or reaction right there by Team Angkor. They know that they're gonna get dive on towards the, on towards the dragon lane. So what they did was, we're gonna try and help you out, and they did manage to caught off 2. That was a fairly bad trade, I would say, a 2-for-1. They did get Hannah 1, but they managed to get off Nash and also Flare as well, which is a very crucial member in this fight, and so thus opening up an opportunity for them to actually go for the dragon.
And then Bax is also here. Rune number 1 comes in. Gonna go for the steal. They get the kill as well. So Sino and the rest of his team, just great coordination. Bax with the spinning axes, slowed down by the glacial fissure. So unfortunately, they will not be able to continue. And that auto on that cloud trade.
That was actually a really nice rotation by Bex, and I gotta say, this is pretty amazing. That actually on here, on towards under the turret itself. Flare is gonna go in with the trample, trying to get the stun off. Meanwhile, Death Whirlwind will go off here, trying to take the kill on towards Hannah, but the Spirit Rush and the Charm will see no down here, and probably gonna make towards the end here. Shyvana moves in, but was able to get a pickup on the Lee Sin and together onto a Flare as well, and that is going to be a 2-for-1 again.
Yeah, and compared to the previous game draft, this composition for Team Angkor does allow them to fight slightly earlier, which is why they are able to go even when it comes to these kind of trades. And meanwhile, Private Plork has not really shown his presence too much on this Dr. Mundo, still doing the usual split push. He's still holding the lane on his own. He has yet to join any fights. But you might require the presence of this Dr. Mundo earlier than you expected if you are Team Angkor. And speaking of that, the Vision 1 just got taken out. The Rift Herald will be started definitely by the side of Rune number 1. You can see Flash already going on scouting duty. If Team Angkor wants to do something, they gotta do it right now. The Winter's Bite does get thrown out. Rift Herald is pulled. Back shows himself as well with the standard side, and he will have not find an opening. And with the Unbreakable, is gonna protect this Robot 7. Perhaps will try solo. No, he backs off from the Rift Herald.
Very nice cleaver that hit on. And right now, rule number 1 is trying to contest the Herald right now, because they really need this Herald to provide a little bit more pressure, to siege on towards the tier 1 turrets. Perhaps maybe we can see a little bit of fight here.
Yeah, and middle lane, Robot 7 gets engaged on, but uses the Flash. Flare comes in, has the trample, and he even ignites the Ahri. They use the bullet time, and Flash is going to tank everything up with the Unbreakable Will. Sino with the Guardian Angel will be able to get out alive. Does land the Sonic Wave as a stand behind me will give Hannah a bit of a protection. They kill out Flare. There's newbie GMK on the killing spree, and he will be able to perhaps get himself his own Guardian Angel. But meanwhile, Dr. Mundo gets clobbered by this Garen. So Fredo finding the solo kill in that Baron lane is going to give them a tier 2 to be taken later on.
I like how Fredo was just, perhaps maybe a little bit of fight here. Because Shyvana was trying to go for the Herald, but with the last caress, finishes off the Shyvana in a very quick one. Set Riker really needs to rethink and, perhaps maybe rethink every time he want to go for the objective maybe.
Yeah, and it's slightly painful to watch though, because Team Angkor, they win out these fights, but the communication when it comes to securing objective was not there. This is the second time that Sarika or newbie GMK on the Shyvana tried to start an objective without his team nearby, without the information. And this is the second time Sino comes in and be like, that is mine now, it belongs to our team. And Now they drop the Rip Herald, they take the mid tier 1, the Rip Herald is going to crash in the tier 2. The entirety of Team Angkor is forced to defend that turret, and at the same time the GA comes back up for Flare. So rule number 1, they are back in the same comfortable spot that they were in the match in match 1.
And by judging on towards the the map coverage, if you guys can see on towards the map right now, rule number 1 has a total control right now. I mean, not exactly a total control. They still need that tier 2, to put themselves in a really comfortable spot. But they really need to reassess, like, how they're gonna pull this off. I mean, now that the team Angkor has started to pile up, and here you go. We can see Fredo is trying to go for Butterfly there, but Spirit Rush will be used to escape right there.
Yeah, there's almost a minute without the Ari ultimate. So if you're rule number 1, you can use the information and be like, oh great, Ari shows up in the Baron lane. No, it's not going to contest our dragon, and they cannot fight without the ultimate. Flare does get the pulverized onto Hannah, but Hannah will be pretty safe with that tankiness of the Braum and the possession of the GA. Rule number 1, taking an Inferno Drake means that by the next dragon, they will have the Baron available as well, as it will be spawning in 10 seconds. Team Angkor looking to make a move. So when they were up against Bantai, the only issue with Bantai is that they were always isolated. But rule number 1, they have blocked that loophole, they have blocked the lead. Whereas if they have a solo laner and they don't see anyone from Team Angkor on the map, they will start rotating towards that solo lane, which is why you always see Flare near Fredo.
Exactly, and I like how the rotations are played out, and they play between these two players, which is going to be Bex and also Fredo. These two players are strong, solo mechanically, and with their mechanical prowess, they are quite strong. But they still need the assistance from their team, which is why Flare decided to go on a roam by a bit to put a lot more pressure on towards Team Angkor. So Team Angkor now has decided to turtle up to try and stop rule number 1's track. But they have to understand as well, if they let Fredo and also Bex farm up continuously, they're going to be a force to be reckoned with.
And it's slightly unfortunate for him as well, because he does have the Cauldron Warhammer, he does have the Serenity, but he has yet to convert that or to upgrade that into a full item. He hasn't gotten his Uber Ghostblade just yet. His Misfortune only a 6.3k net worth compared to Bex's Draven sitting on more than 9,000. There's a huge differential, and it's also because Draven with the Adoration stack does further catapult him with that gold lead. So Reem on that Misfortune is actually not able to do too much damage, does not have enough insanity, does not have enough damage items to work with, and is forced to even consider a GA as that first item. As the BGM is going to come in with that Dragon Ball, but immediately gets engaged on it, drop the bullet time. Henna wants to protect the jungler, but the jungler goes down regardless. Flash just going to walk down that tier 2 and pop the GA from Reem. Reem's going to respawn, and they will also get a double man pulverized. The killing spree comes in for Bax as he claims and cashes in on that Adoration. 2 down for Team Angkor, and rule number 1, they've gotten another lead. They might look at Baron soon.
I was pretty, like, I was puzzled and speechless in a way. Why did Newbie JMK actually went in for, what is he trying to do? Like, his team was not there throughout the, his team wasn't there. Pliverport was still on the Baron lane, and they know that, rule number 1 is still rotating. What was he thinking going into that fight? Eventually causes him life, and now Pliverport will go down as well with the hate spike from Nash. Rule number 1 is just stomping them.
Yeah, and speaking about stomping, they are just gonna walk over Hannah. This Braum does not have the GA anymore. You can see Fredo is like easy peasy lemon squeezy, spin the win on the Garen. So 2 more kills going over to rule number 1. They're gonna take down this tier 2 in the Baron lane as Fredo gladly tanks the aggro. And once this turret goes down, it's gonna be Baron Nashor on the next course of menu for rule number 1.
You can see the smile on Fredo right now, tanking that turret. He knows that he's that strong. He knows he can contribute it to the fight. Not only his Garen are beefy, but was able to dish out the damage. Did you see the crit damage on his spin win? He is literally a Beyblade right now. What I'm not entirely sure how Reem and Angkor are going to do with Fredo right now.
Yeah, do you see? So he went for GA first item, and then he went for Steros Gate, and he's like, yeah, I think I'm tanky enough. Let me go back for a Black Cleaver. All Fredo wants to do is to stand in front. Right? He wants to be unkillable, and you talk about how Reem is going to deal with this. Maybe we'll see it. Reem's just going to back off. Does not want to deal with this Garen at all. The Ocean Drake is going to spawn We are 13.5 minutes in, but there might be another fight in the top lane, and it's gonna be a Hannah called out once more. There's just nothing that Team Angkor can do. They bring Flare down to a pretty low health, but Robot 7 just does not have enough damage to finish off any members on the side of rule number 1.
It's pretty amazing how rule number 1 could just apply that so much pressure that Rim was not able to to farm that effectively, like how they led with Bex. Perhaps maybe we can see a little bit of fight here, Husky.
Fredo just shows up and Private Block just gets executed. Fredo gladly throws his life because he has the GA. They use the last caress. Private Block just go down. Just double for Fredo. The ruling that flies through and Fredo is unstoppable. Look at where this guy is. This guy is in the enemy base, but Fredo doesn't really care. He's Garen. He can do whatever he wants. 3 dead for Team Angkor, and Flair does spot us the Shyvana. But at this stage, rule number 1, they set the rules. They said when they want to close out the game.
You can see how these guys are like, they are trying to put a certain dominance over towards Team Angkor. They wanted to show that, hey, we are super good at this game. We're gonna wreck you guys. But at the same time, they're just having fun. Look at how Flair is smiling right now.
Everyone, if you are,
technically everyone,
you would be smiling, right, guy? It would be interesting to see. Any members of Rune 1 still will be like, I think we might lose this game, guys, with a 99% chance of winning. But knowing Team Angkor, we've seen how they play from behind. The only problem with this draft is that the wave clear is not as strong as when you have the Orianna, and the front line isn't as strong with the Dr. Mundo compared to a Malphite or a Mumu or even an Olaf to a certain extent. So you have all these minor variables that is changing how Team Angkor needs to play with this deficit, and you can see bottom lane as well. That goes in, gets a huge polarize. Cena's gonna try and follow up, but it seems like so far no one on the side of Team Angkor went down just yet. They still have the unbreakable for Hannah, and Flare might have overextended. The TP comes in from Fredo, and Hannah's gonna kill him off with the Winter Spike. Cena does come back in, tries to get a Dragon Rage, but a good Dragon Form from Satellite will be able to send Fredo back. They have Cena flying in, 4-man Tempest. The shield is out from this bomb. They execute the Shyvana and the last caress to finally finish off that Dr. Mundo. Everyone's gonna respond back with the hands of rule number 1. Bex is gonna claim that adoration, and all the fans will cheer for rule number 1. They take 4 away from Team Angkor, and they will break this inhibitor turret with that cannon minion there. It seems like rule number 1 are on their way to the grand finals. They are still dominant. They are still the strongest team, and rule number 1 will be the first team to lock in grand finals.
GG, well played.
Wow, what a match.